This is a review of the Aqueon Quietflow 20. Now, before you say, "Well, geez, another review," aren't there a ton of these already on YouTube? Yeah, there are. However, all the ones that I looked at before I purchased this unit didn't give me the information I needed, which was I wanted to know how wide, specifically in terms of measurements, the chamber was and how deep the chamber was. Because what I want to do is I want to take my Tetra heater and I want to stick it in the chamber in the filter so that it's not in the tank. I also want to be able to put in a Chemelite blue packet in the chamber also, and provide enough flow for that. Now, this is going to be going in my saltwater tank, which already has a nice Magnum filter on it. So I don't really need it so much for the biological, as I was looking for another way to provide for the ChemiPure blue and the heater without and putting it in an initial filter. I didn't want to put it in the Magnum hot hang-on tank filter that I have, because that's full of biological material, and I didn't want to open it up and do that. So I was looking for something that was big enough to hold the heater and the packet of media, and this looked like it would fit the bill. So I'm going to open it up, and we'll take a look and we'll measure it. So here we have the pieces. The instructions. All right, so now let's take a look at the measurements. All right, so I wasn't sure if I would need to take out the holster as well as the filter floss material, but we'll see. All right, so the chamber looks like it's 5.5 inches wide, and before you get to and there's a little divider there. It looks like it's about approximately 2 inches in width, and the depth is, before you get to the top of the chamber, is looks like 6.5, and if you go up to the top of the lid, that would be 7.5. Now the heater is 6.5 inches deep. So great, yeah. So it would definitely fit without the holster there. I figured I would run the cord out this way, that way I can put the top on. But let's put the holster in and see how that works out. Okay, so as you can see, it's a kind of a slight oval shape there, so it reduces some of the space on the edges. But otherwise, you still get the full. Well, let's see, it was about 1 3/4 with the holster in there. Now let's put in the filter pad and see how much space there is after that. Alright, so the filter pad goes like that. And now, what have we got? Looks like we've got, what would I call that? Well, looks like, well, there's definitely a 1/2 inch, maybe even 5/8 definitely. And if you kind of compress the back of the filter pad, you could probably get 3/4 of an inch. So I don't know if that's, all right, so that's not big enough to let me put in the heater. So I'm going to have to take out the filter pad. But it's still big enough to put in the heater and leave in the biological holster. And looks like there's still a lot of room to put in a media bag. Could it be a pretty substantial media bag too, for that matter. All right, so that's the kind of information I was looking for on the other YouTube videos, which they didn't have. The other measurement that people were asking about is how far is it to the wall? So if we look at the edge here, we're talking 2 inches to the wall, maybe tad, maybe 2 7/8, or excuse me, 1 7/8 to 2 inches. So for space behind the wall. So there we go. I'm going to set it up now, and we'll see how well that works. I'm probably going to leave the holster in there just to get the extra biological filtering going, and leave space for my media bag, which I don't have the. I'm not ready to put the ChemiPure Blue in yet, because my tank is still cycling with the from the dry rock. So once that's ready, then I'll put that in, and probably put it in when I get the fish in the tank, which will be another 2, maybe 4 weeks. We'll see. I can do an update at that point. All right, there you go. Hope that's helpful. All right, here we have the Quietflow 20 in my 20-gallon long saltwater tank. And as you can see, I'm going to be quiet here for a minute. You can see it's really quiet, actually. You can't hear it all. I turned off my other filters, my Magnum 250 HOT, as well as my protein skimmer. So one issue I did have, as you can see, the heater cord. I did put the heater into the filter, but it tended to push up the hood a little bit. So I ended up taping the hood on the sides, on both sides, and now it's fine. And I also put in a long cylindrical bag of charcoal that I had to see how that would go as kind of a surrogate until I get my ChemiPure Blue inserted into the canister. You will notice that the flow is well, it's decent, but I think the media has a tendency to block the flow a little. But it's still got pretty good flow there, and certainly enough for the media, I think. That should help. I did have one issue. I tried to put this on my 55-gallon freshwater to run it that way for a little bit to get some biological buildup, but it wouldn't fit over the top lip of the aquarium. It was just a tad bit. The aquarium lip was just a tad bit too wide, or the filter was just a tad bit too narrow, so it wouldn't go on. It did, however, fit fine on my 20-gallon long here. I also tried it on, I think it's a 30-gallon tall that I have. I'm not positive. It's been a long time since I had that tank, so I'm not quite sure. It's definitely a tall, and it worked fine on that. So just be aware that they apparently designed it associated with the standard size for 20 to 30 gallons tanks, which is what this is rated for. Kind of foolish of them, in my opinion, that they didn't make the space on the filter just all it had to be really, it was a 1/16 of an inch, and it would have fit on the 55-gallon. For those people who already have other filters on their 55-gallon and wanted just a second filter to add some to hide their media, to hide some other media that they're working with, or for whatever reason wanted to have a second filter that didn't actually have to be fully rated for the 55-gallon. But that's what it is. So it's good. It looks like it's going to work fine, and I'm really happy with how quiet it is.